We have been really enjoying talking about UFC 221 finally coming to Perth. And this is our final preview. I really think, Brett Bonetti and Sandy Di Rocco, that on this auspicious occasion, Brett, we need a real introduction.
I do, and again, this is more of a tribute, so I don't want any lawsuits on my hands, but I've said it a few times as a tribute, so here we go. I'm going to give my best. We are live! The reason why I've said that again is because joining us in the studio is an icon of the sport. He's a future UFC Hall of Famer. He is the voice of the Octagon. Bruce Buffer, welcome to 6PR and welcome to Perth.
Oh, thank you so much. I love Australia. It's my first time in Perth and a pleasure to be here too. Thank you, everybody.
Fantastic. So, Sandy, what?
Yes, welcome to Perth. It's been great having a chat to you outside. You seem like you're a very humble guy and he's a bit of a charmer, ladies. I think.
Absolutely.
I think don't hate me because you ate me, but yeah, I was very lucky to meet him today, and
we should have been recording in there. Wasn't it lovely to find out that Bruce in person is as cool as he is on the telly?
Cooler, yeah.
And if he was here, I wouldn't say flattering things like "what a gentleman."
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of meeting Bruce over a number of UFC events I've been in Australia, and again, he's a champion.
And he still came into the studio.
Yeah, he's. Again, we had to have him in here, especially for the first time. This is a history-making event, so. Bruce, were you well aware of the cage ban that was in place that was in Perth? Because we've been waiting for this event for 5 years.
Yeah, I am aware of it. I mean, as we discussed earlier, I mentioned that I came here in, I think it was 2003 to Melbourne when I did one of the first MMA events with Randy Couture. And it was after that I think this all started coming down and you guys had issues with that. So it's all about educating the unknowing politicians as well as the unknowing public.
And do you keep count, Bruce, of how many events you've been to or announced? Have you got any idea how many you've been to?
No, I actually don't, to be honest. I would say that I probably announced hundreds, if not 1,000 events and thousands and thousands of fights. Yeah.
And it's just as good every time you go out there?
Yeah, every night I walk out into the Octagon, especially for the UFC, is a proving ground for me because I consider that my first night I've ever announced.
Oh, awesome.
So you'll never hear me live on my laurels and talk about my laurels, how I did a 360 at UFC 100, and all that. People talk about it, and it was great, but it's like, no, I have to prove myself coming up this weekend. This is my proving ground.
And I think you do that every time you come out. But we're looking forward to seeing you on Sunday.
Oh,
Can't
it's
wait
brilliant.
for that.
I am starstruck. I mean, I got to meet Mark Hunt and you. And having been an MC for nearly 40 years now, I just want to tell you, dear listener, that it might look easy and fun being up there with the microphone and doing those really amazing introductions, linking all the important parts together, being the mortar between the bricks of the fighters. But it's really hard work to do consistently over usually, 7 to 10 hours for the whole night?
Yeah, with the preparation, everything even more. But, the trick to anything anybody does in life, including what we're all doing here right now, is to make it look easy.
Yeah.
And our job is to do what we do and to enhance the audience, the fans, and the fighters, especially in a fighting arena. That's what all of our jobs are to do as announcers and MCs.
And to do it consistently. Do you know,
Absolutely.
Do you know one of the things we all love about the way you do your work so professionally is that you come in there as if you're a fighter going for a title with every announcement. I know what it's like to deliver that energy level in your body, in your throat, and all the rest of it. And to do that consistently through the night, you're a fit man. You must be proud of your work, man, because you deliver.
I'm proud of it because I approach life with passion. Everything I do in life is about passion. That's my passion you're seeing. And whether it's a girl that I'm in love with or whether it's work that I'm in love with, it's about being passionate about what you're doing. And I love the UFC so much. And these warriors who I've had the pleasure of meeting, every one of them, for 22 years now, they are going out there to put their blood, sweat, and tears on the line. They are putting their lives on the line. So we need to put our performances on the line and do the best job we can, whether we're commentating or whether we're emceeing. And UFC 221 that's happening this weekend, at the Perth Arena, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
I know, I was checking, there's still tickets available. I mean, the show was definitely, everybody's out for the tickets, but they do have some tickets available. But I would definitely, if you're listening to this interview now, I'd run and get them because they're going to be gone.
Tickettech.com.au, listeners. Bruce, I've spoken to several fighters over the years. I said I love the UFC, and I've spoken to several this week. And knowing that you were going to be going to be coming into the studio, I've asked them specifically as what does it feel like? What's the feeling when they hear you announce their name and they've only had glowing things to say? I mean, how's that make you feel as well, knowing that, especially when I see TJ Dillashaw and guys like Dan Hardy, they're pointing towards you specifically, giving you the fist bump. I mean, how's that make you feel? Does it give you more energy as well?
Absolutely. And it makes everything I've done for 22 years, the dedication to the sport, the money I've lost, you know, in the early days, building with this sport, and the sacrifices I've made in my personal life to be there for the UFC, for every show I've done, it makes everything worthwhile. Like when I go out there, and I don't know any other announcer, with all respect to all the other fine announcers that announce fighting, but I started getting fist bumped by fighters when I'm doing my thing, and it's like, wow, you know, that's like the ultimate. They come up to me afterwards and tell me how wonderful it was when I announced their name and how it made them feel, and or calling me or writing me, you know, are you going to be there? I'm fighting, you know.
It'd be very empowering.
It's very empowering.
Yeah.
I'll never forget, Bruce, one of the fighters just won an interim title, and he looked over and he said, I can't wait till Bruce says the undisputed.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's the height of flattery, and it's the height of respect from your peers, and it's what I work for. Listen, I love the paycheck. Don't get me wrong. I'll be at the bank on a Monday, the first one in line to cash my check. But it's not about the paycheck for me, right? And I can say that because I'm in a comfortable position now after all these years, but the bottom line is that I love what I do.
That's brilliant.
That's it.
A lot of listeners don't realize the family heritage with Michael Buffer and his boxing history, how you two sort of discovered each other as brothers. And please let us know that beautiful description of the difference between you and Michael Buffer and your styles. It's perfect.
There was a boxing journalist, and he made this quote, which I love. It's Michael announcing, Michael is like a fine bottle of Bordeaux, and I'm like a shot of Jack Daniels. And that just that puts it perfectly. I am not in competition.
Energy level? Yeah.
The energy level. Listen, Michael is legendarily the greatest announcer of all time. When Michael came into the boxing ring, the announcers were nobody paid any attention to them. He brought attention to the ring announcer, which paved the way for all of us.
Yes.
And I never wanted to be Frank Sinatra Jr. when I started announcing. I managed his career for over 27 years. So when I did this, I told myself I'll give myself 3 years to develop my own style and make it right. And if not, I would quit. And my style started to come out. And then I started to move. I hated standing still. Everybody said you got to stand. I don't have to stand still. That's not going to work for me.
You made it yours.
I made it mine. You know, that's what I had to do. I needed to have fun. And I'm a kid in the candy store every time I'm there.
Part of that style, Sandy wants to ask you a question because she loves your suits.
Yes,
she's our fashion expert.
I am. Do you have like your own stylists that come out, because you've where do you get them from? They're amazing. There was the blue one. The blue one was quite out there. I love that. I saw that on Googled it and had a look at a few, and they're just amazing. Where do you get them from?
My exclusive tailors are My King and Bay. Out of Toronto, Canada.
And do you design them? Do you design them along with these guys?
They will search for fine fabrics and send me a sample of the fabrics, and then together we decide what would be a good choice. And I've done a lot of recent ones out of jacquard raw silk. Okay. So they can only find enough material to make like 2 jackets.
Wow.
So I keep the one that I wear, and they auction off the second one and give money to charity. And from what I understand, they're auctioning for like $6,000 to $8,000.
That's amazing.
You would have to pay. Those are very expensive jackets. You know, if you went to a store like Beverly Hills Rodeo, I mean, they're very expensive. But they're made in a special way. I have to be able to move. So they know how to make it so I can move around. I'll tell you a little trick on the pants. In the pants, the lining in the pants, they cut the lining out on the knees. Right. That way I can go down to one knee and move. And I've always been this way my whole life because as a martial artist, I don't care how fine I was dressed, I want to be sure I can kick you in the head if I have to. So
without ruining the pants.
Without ruining the pants or embarrassing myself. Although I have split my pants in the Octagon.
And damn it, I missed it. I wasn't there for that.
I'll tell you a funny story. It was in Anaheim, California. The show was starting in 5 minutes, and I was doing my little warm-up because I like to loosen up my body. And when I bent down, the pants ripped from the rear to the front. And I haven't even announced a fight yet. So my the stylist and the makeup girl that does everybody at the show, we went in the back, and I'm standing up. She literally sewed my pants together.
Oh, that must have been terrible for you.
I wasn't moving quite as much for the rest of the evening as I normally do because I didn't want to split them again on worldwide TV. But it was a pretty funny experience. So I've learned that when you wear black pants, you wear black undies.
Oh, love it, man.
You do like moving around a bit. You did tell us that you've only just like got off a plane today. And when you got off, tell our listeners, what did you do? Listen to what he does when he gets off a plane.
I went right to the gym and I worked out for an hour and a half.
And you're looking
He's
like
a machine.
Couple
Not
of
a
$1
glass
million
of champagne,
too.
ladies, and then off to bed. This guy goes and works out, does sit-ups and all that kind of stuff. And he's walked in like $1 million. Unbelievable.
It wakes me up.
And next step to the Crown Casino to take everyone's money? Take the bet's
Yeah,
money?
well, when we're done the interviews, I understand you've got the fine Crown Casino here,
Yeah.
which I know very well from Melbourne. And I love Aussie dollars, especially when they go from your pocket into mine. So it's all good.
Oh, it's wonderful.
We know we need to let you go very shortly, so I just got a couple of more questions. One, I've got again. I was speaking to Jake, the Celtic kid Matthews, and something again I always notice all these sort of
I
things.
love watching this kid fight.
I think he's really a good talent. One thing I noticed when you're announcing him, and it might be an American thing, but I think you say Celtic. Is that like an American thing, or is it just?
No, that's a preparation thing that I have to take care of. Is what it is.
Well, I told Jake, I said you've got a chance to get your dad in and say no, it's Miyagi-Do karate. So yeah, Celtic kid. So
no, it is the Celtic is there. I think the first time I did say Celtic, and I remember that actually. And I've made very few mistakes. I can pretty much count them, on both hands. But when I do them, they're good ones.
And the funny thing I think was I only remember one, and it was like, oh, that's the first. And I think Joe Rogan said, oh, that's the only time that Bruce Buffer's ever made a mistake. So,
Actually, that's part of his UFC contract. He is programmed to put in a couple of mistakes. Otherwise, people think he's too perfect.
Well, again, Bruce, we
I'm
can't
only
thank
human.
you enough for coming into
Thank
6PR to join Tony and myself. And again, we've been going back for many years. So just finally, what can the fans expect from UFC 221 in Perth?
You can expect a crazy day of action. I can't say night. It's a crazy day of action.
Morning?
Yeah, morning of action. There's so many great matchups, and the good thing is they're pulling from talent that's here, Australian-born, New Zealand, Auckland, all that's coming in. You've got Mark Hunt, coming in against Curtis Blades. You're talking about two heavyweights where it's not going to be who won by points. It's going to be who went down like timber. Probably that's going to be the case. And then you got Luke Rockhold coming back after a long time and facing down the beast in Yoel Romero. I mean, this is crazy.
Great main event.
Crazy stuff.
Shame about Whitaker, but great main event.
I'm a huge fan of Robert Whitaker's, and I just hope that everything goes well with him because he's such a good guy.
And congratulations on
Yes,
the birth of
congratulations.
his daughter.
Did he? Oh, really? They had a baby girl?
Yeah, day before yesterday,
Oh,
Bruce.
wonderful. Fantastic.
So it's worked out really well. He was there for that important event. We can't wait for him to get back.
He's such a gentleman.
We want you back. We've got 221. Please let Dana and all the team know. We'd love to get you back. This is a taste for us. We'll do bigger and better next
Tony,
time.
we've locked down the building. We're not letting him out.
You're putting a lot of pressure on me. I think I'm going to have to roar extra special tomorrow.
And remember,
Sunday,
listeners, first fight is a rare one. It's at 7:30 a.m. That's when the Fight Pass prelims start. Prelims are at 9. Main card starts around
We'll
11.
be
But you
there.
can see Bruce Buffer throughout all of it, and you're going to get Perth crowd really going.
Let me tell the fans something really important. One thing about a UFC, there are bonuses for performances of the night. In the UFC, it could be on Fight Pass, not even on TV. You never know when the best fight of the night's going to be. It could be the very first fight. So, great UFC fans, which are here in Australia, there's no problem getting there at 7:30 and catching every single fight because, believe me, this card is awesome.
It's absolutely brilliant. Bruce Buffer, for a fairly old bloke, it's been a real thrill to meet you in person, to find out that you're such a gentleman and so engaging. We're looking forward to speaking with you again and hosting you again in Perth, mate. Welcome to Perth.
It's really my pleasure, and it will be my ultimate pleasure to come back and see you when we come back.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.